The colony world of Orion was far from the heart of human space. It was a quiet place where farmers grew food, miners pulled ore from the rocky hills, and traders carried goods between small towns. People lived simple lives they were proud of. Their home, but they were not ready for war. For many years, Orion had been safe. The nearest alien power had signed a trade agreement with the humans long ago. Ships from other worlds sometimes visited to buy goods or sell strange items. The people of Orion were used to peaceful skies. They had no large army, no massive space, fleet, and no need for heavy weapons. But peace did not last forever. 1 month before the invasion, strange reports began to reach the colony. Traders spoke of unrest in distant systems. Merchant ships disappeared without warning. Human scouts returned with stories of enemy patrols near the border. At first, these were only whispers and rumors. People went on with their work, hoping the trouble would never reach them. Commander Vero, head of the colony's defense force, was one of the few who worried from the start. He had served in the human navy before retiring to Orion. His small group of patrol craft and ground troops was meant only to stop smugglers or pirates, not to fight a war. Still, he ordered the repair of old defense satellites and told his officers to keep watch on the outer system. Then came the day the enemy arrived. It began as a faint signal on the colony's long-range sensors. At first it looked like one or two ships moving slowly. Vero sent a patrol craft to investigate. Hours later, the patrol captain returned with a message that made Vero's stomach sink. The signal was not from a few ships. It was from a fleet. The enemy was coming in force. Vero called an emergency meeting in the colony's main council hall. The governor, senior council members, and military officers filled the long table. Maps of the system glowed on the wall screen. The enemy fleet was only 2 days away. They are not here to talk, Vero said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. Their formation is tight. Their course is straight toward us. This is an invasion. The governor leaned forward. Can we stop them? Vero shook his head. Not with what we have. We have 12 defense satellites for old patrol ships and 2 squadrons of fighters. That will not hold against a fleet of warships. One council member spoke up. Then we must call for help. Send a signal to the nearest human fleet. We already have, Vero replied. But the closest major fleet is weeks away. They cannot reach us in time. Silence filled the room. The council knew what that meant. Orion was on its own. Vero finally spoke again. We can evacuate as many people as possible into the hills and underground shelters. We will make the enemy fight for every meter they take. If we are lucky, we can delay them until help arrives. The governor nodded. Do it and send our signal farther. Maybe some ship, somewhere, will hear us. Orders went out at once. The colony's emergency beacons lit up, sending a distress call into deep space. Civilian ships began loading supplies and moving people away from the city. Schools closed. Shops locked their doors, and farmers drove their animals toward hidden valleys. The streets filled with worried faces. Vero's defense force worked without rest. Fighters were armed and fueled. Patrol ships loaded their last torpedoes. Defense satellites were aimed at the points where the enemy would enter orbit. On the ground, troops prepared barricades in the streets and placed energy shields around important buildings. The people of Orion were not trained soldiers, but they were not helpless. Many men and women volunteered to help carry supplies, build fortifications, and assist the wounded. Children were taken to the safest shelters deep underground. Night came, but the work continued. In the control tower, Vero watched the enemy fleet's position on the large map. The glowing red icons crept closer with every hour. By morning, they would be in the outer system. The next day, the enemy fleet appeared on the edge of Orion's long-range view screens. Even from that distance, their power was clear. Dozens of warships moved together in perfect order. Their hulls gleamed with armor. Sensor readings showed heavy weapons on every ship. The council gathered again, but this time no one spoke of peace. The enemy had already sent a short message. Surrender your world. You have 1 day to decide. Vero played the message for the council, The alien voice was cold and certain. They believe victory was already theirs. They will attack no matter what we say, Vero told them. If we surrender, they will take our people as they wish. If we resist, they will destroy our city. But at least if we fight, there is a chance for help to arrive. The governor rose from his chair. Then we fight. The council approved the decision. Every able defender took their position. Vero ordered all ships into combat formation. Fighters rose from the launch bays and streaked into the dark sky. Still, he knew the truth. They could not win this battle with the weapons they had. His only hope was that someone, somewhere, would hear their call for help. Far from Orin, the distress signal raced through human space. It passed abandoned stations, drifted through empty systems, and crossed the silent void toward distant stars. Most of the time, such calls reached no one in time. But fate had a strange way of working. Somewhere out there, beyond the charts of Orion's navigators, something was listening. Vero did not know it yet, but help was already on its way. That night, the colony's citizens gathered in the central square. A group of musicians played a slow, strong song. People stood close to one another, holding hands, whispering quiet words. They knew the enemy was almost here. They knew tomorrow might bring destruction. But they also knew they would face it together. In the command center, Vero looked out the wide windows at the stars. Somewhere among them, the enemy was closing in. Somewhere else, perhaps, a friend was coming. He could only wait and see which would arrive first. The enemy fleet entered the outer edge of the Orange system just before dawn. In the colony's command center, Commander Vero stood beside the large wall screen, watching the slow crawl of red icons across the black map. Enemy ships were spreading into attack formation, their long-range scans sweeping through the system like silent searchlights. Vero's officers worked quickly, relaying orders to the patrol ships and fighter squadrons. Defense satellites were powered to full strength, and all shield generators on the ground were activated. The atmosphere in the control room was tense but disciplined. Everyone knew the enemy would reach orbit within hours. A faint voice came over the comm channel from the scout ship stationed farthest from the planet. Multiple enemy cruisers passing my position. I am moving to shadow them, Vero responded. Stay hidden and keep feeding us their course. He turned to the sensor chief. Any sign of help? The sensor chief shook his head. No human ships detected within range. Vero kept his voice steady. Keep scanning. If anything moves out there, I want to know. Minutes passed. The enemy ships moved closer. Then, without warning, a new signal appeared on the edge of the system. It was faint at first, just a flicker on the long-range sweep. The sensor chief frowned and adjusted the scan settings. The reading grew stronger. Commander, he said slowly, I am detecting a single vessel entering the system from the far side. Its power signature is strange, not like the enemy, not like any standard human ship. Vero stepped to the console and studied the readout. The object was large, almost the size of a heavy cruiser, but it carried no registry code, no transponder signal, and no standard identification beacons. Its hull reflected almost no light. It moved with an even, controlled speed straight toward the inner system. The communications officer looked up. Shall we hail them? Yes, Vero said. Open a wideband channel. The officer sent out the message. Unidentified vessel entering Orange system. This is Commander Vero of the Orange Defense Force. Identify yourself. Silence. Vero waited, then gave the order again. Still no reply. The enemy fleet also noticed the arrival. Several of their ships broke formation and turned toward the new contact. Their movements were quick, almost impatient. They did not seem afraid, but they were interested. Vero's second-in-command, a steady officer named Bren, leaned closer. To him, could be a human warship, a prototype maybe, or something from a private fleet. Vero considered this. If it is human, they are taking a strange path. No signal, no call sign, moving in complete radio silence. The mysterious vessel continued on its course, even at great distance. It gave the impression of confidence. Its path did not waver. It did not slow. As the unidentified ship approached the enemy's forward screen, the aliens attempted their own hail. Their signal was translated into a neutral tone by Orion Systems, a known vessel. This sector is under the control of the Z3 fleet. You are ordered to halt and submit to boarding. The strange ship gave no answer. The enemy repeated their order, this time with more force. Still there was nothing in reply. The alien ships adjusted their course to intercept. In the command center, the crew of Orion Defense watched with growing curiosity. Vero kept his hands clasped behind his back. If that ship is human, they must know they are heading into danger. The tactical officer whispered, or they do not care. The enemy made the first move. One of their destroyers fired a bright warning shot across the path of the black vessel. The light from the beam flashed against the side of the mysterious hull. Even magnified, the surface of the ship seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. The black ship did not change course. A second destroyer fired, this time a direct hit aimed at the center of the unknown vessel. The beam struck, but instead of an explosion or damage, the energy seemed to fade against an unseen barrier. Sensors showed no harm done. Vero's eyes narrowed. That is a shield system beyond anything I have seen. The enemy began to close in, sending 3 ships to surround the intruder. Their formation tightened, and their weapons charged. The black ship kept moving, slow and steady, without returning fire. Bren glanced at Vero. They are either the bravest crew in the galaxy, or they know something we do not. The next moment, the black ship changed. Its engines flared bright for the first time. The entire vessel turned sharply toward the heart of the enemy formation. It no longer moved at a patrol pace. It surged forward with speed that startled even the enemy. Vero's sensor chief spoke quickly. Commander, their acceleration rate is extreme. They will reach the enemy vanguard in less than 2 minutes. The alien fleet reacted fast. Half a dozen warships adjusted position to intercept. They fired together, beams and torpedoes lashing out. But every strike met the same result as before. The black ship's shield absorbed or deflected each shot without losing momentum. Then, for the first time, the mysterious vessel fired. A single pulse of white-blue energy burst from its forward weapon array. It was not a missile or beam but something unfamiliar, a wave of concentrated force. It struck the lead enemy cruiser in the center, tearing through armor and structure in one instant. The cruiser's power systems failed immediately. A second later, its hull broke apart into glowing fragments. In the Orion command center, silence fell. Vero spoke quietly. One shot, the black ship fired again. Another cruiser vanished in a flash of light and debris. Panic began to ripple through the enemy formation. They broke their lines, trying to scatter and regroup. But the strange vessel kept coming, even at long range. Its targeting was perfect. Every shot hit exactly where it would do the most harm. Enemy weapons could not touch it. Each destroyed ship added to the confusion and fear in their ranks. The communications officer turned to Vero. Sir, whoever they are saving us. Vero did not answer right away. His eyes stayed fixed on the dark shape that now tore into the center of the enemy fleet. Part of him wanted to hail the ship again, to thank them or at least know their name. But another part of him felt that this was not a crew seeking thanks. This was something else. Something with a purpose of its own. The enemy began pulling back. Their captains must have realized they were facing an opponent far beyond their strength. Even so, the black vessel gave them no chance to escape. It matched every retreat with a burst of impossible speed. One by one, the enemy ships fell under. Its fire died in the control room of Orion Defense. The crew watched history being made. The mysterious warship had appeared out of nowhere, ignored all warnings, and now was dismantling an invasion fleet as if it were nothing more than a training exercise. Vero finally spoke again, almost to himself. The balance of this battle has just changed. He did not know how right he was. The black vessel had entered the battle without a single word of warning. In the Orion Command Center, Commander Vero and his crew could only watch as it cut through the enemy lines. Every movement of the strange ship was calm, deliberate, and precise. The Z3 invasion fleet had come in perfect formation. It was meant to be unstoppable. Their ships were heavier than anything the Orion Defense Force had, built for war, with thick armor and strong shields. But none of that mattered now. The black ship fired again. A beam of white-blue energy streaked across the dark space and struck an enemy destroyer. The beam sliced through its front section, leaving the rear half drifting without power. In seconds, secondary explosions tore it apart completely. Enemy captains shouted orders, their ships trying to regroup. Several moved in at once, hoping to surround the intruder. From the command center, the Orion tactical officer shook his head. They are too slow. It is moving faster than they can react. Indeed. The black ship spun sharply and accelerated, leaving a trail of faint blue light. It passed between two enemy cruisers at incredible speed. Both cruisers fired everything they had. Not one shot landed. The strange shield around the vessel seemed to bend light and energy away before it could touch the hull. Then the black ship's weapons fired again. 2 shots, one after the other. Both cruisers exploded almost instantly, their wreckage scattering into the void. Bren, Vero's second in command, stared at the display. It is like watching a hunter among frightened animals. The Z3 ships began to break formation entirely. Panic was spreading among their captains. Some moved to retreat, but the black vessel would not allow it. It shifted targets with perfect timing, hitting the nearest fleeing ship before it could escape. Each strike was final. The entire battle zone was chaos. The invaders had expected to meet weak resistance from a small colony defense force. Instead, they faced a single warship that was tearing them apart in minutes. Vero watched closely. He noticed that the black ship never fired more than once at a single target. Every shot was a clean kill. This was not wild shooting. It was careful, precise work. Whoever commanded that vessel knew exactly what they were doing. In the enemy's central command ship, the Z3 flagship, the alien admiral must have realized the danger. Several ships began to close ranks around the flagship in a protective circle. The black vessel turned toward them without hesitation, from a great distance. It fired a shot so bright it left an afterimage on the Orion Command Center screens. The beam struck the flagship's outer shields. For a moment, the shield held. Then it shattered like glass. The second shot tore into the flagship itself, ripping through armor, decks, and engines. The massive warship broke in half, its pieces drifting apart in a slow tumble. A gasp went through the Orion control room. The enemy had lost their command vessel in less than 3 minutes. Brent said quietly, "They have no leader now. They will fall apart completely." He was right. Without their flagship, the remaining Z3 ships scattered. Some fled toward the far side of the system. Others simply stopped fighting, hoping to hide behind asteroids or debris. But the black vessel did not give them time. It pursued the largest clusters of enemy ships with a speed no human craft could match. When it caught them, the results were always the same. 1 shot, 1 kill. Vero could see the end coming. The battle that had seemed hopeless that morning was now completely reversed, and it had taken less than 4 minutes. "Time to orbit?" Vero asked. 3 minutes until it reaches the planet," the navigation officer replied. Vero gave the order to keep all Orion ships at a safe distance. He did not want any of their fighters caught in the path of this warship. He still did not know if it was truly human. He only knew it was on their side for now. The black vessel's weapons glowed again. A final burst of fire destroyed the last enemy cruiser in range. Smaller craft were abandoned. Their crews ejected escape pods in surrender. Then, as suddenly as the attack had begun, the black ship slowed. It stopped near the drifting wreckage of the Z3 fleet. For a long moment, it simply hovered there, silent and still. In the command center, the Orion crew waited. Would it contact them now? Would its captain speak at last? The communications officer tried again. "Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Vero of the Orion Defense Force. You have saved our world. Please respond." "No." "Answer." Vero studied the image on the screen. The black hole reflected almost nothing. It was like a shadow given shape. He wondered who had built it, who commanded it, and why they had come to Orion. The sensor chief interrupted his thoughts. "Commander, The vessel is moving again. It is leaving the battlefield. On the display, the black ship turned away from the planet and began to accelerate toward deep space. They are not staying, Bren said. Vero gave a slow nod. They did not come for thanks. Whatever their mission is, it is not here. The crew of Orion Defense watched as the strange vessel grew smaller and smaller on the screen. It passed the edge of the system and vanished into the darkness between the stars. The battle was over. The enemy was gone, and the one who had saved them had disappeared without a trace. Vero knew that from this day forward, Orion would never forget what they had seen. And somewhere, out in the vastness of space, the black warship would continue its unknown journey. The battle was over. The enemy fleet was gone. The stars around Orion were quiet once more. Commander Vero stood in the command center, watching. The empty space where the black warship had fought. The strange ship had vanished like a shadow, leaving no signal, no message, no explanation. For a long time, the room was silent. Officers looked at each other, unsure what to say. The colony had been saved. But the mystery remained. Who was this unknown human warship? Why had it come without a word? And why had it left so quickly? Vero turned to his second-in-command, Bren. What do we know about it? He asked. Bren shook his head. Only what sensors showed us. Its technology is unlike anything in our records. The shields were stronger than anything we have. The weapons were powerful and precise. It moved faster than any human ship we know. But no identity, no communication. Vero sighed. It came here in our moment of need, destroyed the enemy in minutes, and left before we could thank it. That much is clear. Outside the command center, news of the battle spread quickly. Citizens of Orion had gathered in the streets and squares to hear the reports. Some cried tears of relief. Others whispered questions about the strange savior who had appeared out of nowhere. In the days that followed, scientists and engineers studied every piece of data collected during the battle. They hoped to learn secrets from the mysterious vessels, weapons, and shields, yet the black warship's technology remained a puzzle. It was far beyond the knowledge of Orion's brightest minds. Meanwhile, the colony repaired damage from the brief enemy attack. Though the battle had been short, enemy scouts had fired missiles at the outer defense satellites and ground stations. Several buildings were damaged, and a few lives were lost. Still, Orion had survived. The council met again to discuss the future. The governor addressed the leaders. Our home was saved by a power we do not understand. We owe a debt to whoever that ship belongs to, but we must prepare ourselves. This enemy may return, and next time we must be ready. Commander Vero agreed. We will strengthen our defenses. We will build faster ships and better weapons. But we will also search for that unknown warship, if it is human. We must find its crew and learn from them. Days turned into weeks. The distress signals Orion had sent out finally reached farther human fleets. Ships began moving toward the colony, offering aid and protection. Vero welcomed the help but kept watching the stars for the black warship's return. Then one evening, while studying the battle data in his quarters, Vero received a strange message. It was not from any known human or alien ship. It was a brief transmission, almost a whisper in the vastness of space. The message was a series of coordinates far beyond Orion, beyond human space as it was known. Vero showed the message to Bren. Could this be from the black warship? He wondered aloud. Bren nodded slowly. It might be a sign, a way to tell us where to look. Plans were made for a small reconnaissance team to follow the coordinates. The crew knew the journey could be long and dangerous, but hope drove them forward. They needed answers. The people of Orion waited, watching the stars, holding on to the hope that their mysterious guardian was still out there. Some believed the ship was part of a secret human project, built in hidden shipyards far from the public eye. Others thought it was a lone warrior, traveling the stars in silence to protect humanity where it could not reach. For Commander Vero, the black warship became a symbol of hope and strength. It showed that even in the darkest hours, help could arrive in unexpected ways. It reminded everyone that humanity was not alone and that they could fight back against any enemy. The colony continued its work, Fields were replanted, homes were rebuilt, and children returned to schools. Life went on. But the story of the unknown warship was told in every home, every school, and every gathering. It was a story of courage and mystery that would inspire. Generations far away, in the endless black of space, the black warship sailed silently. Its mission was not finished. Somewhere beyond the stars, new threats waited, and the unknown crew would be ready when the next call came. The black warship had come like a shadow, silent and deadly. It had changed the fate of the colony world, of warring in less than 4 minutes. But the mystery was far from over. Commander Vero and his team knew the battle was just one moment in a much larger story. After the enemy fleet had been destroyed, the black ship had vanished into the dark vastness of space. The people of Orange celebrated their survival. But the unknown warship left behind questions that would take years to answer. In the command center, Vero studied the battle data with great care. Each movement of the black ship was recorded in detail. Every shot fired, every enemy ship destroyed, every moment of the fight was clear. It was like watching a dance of death, precise and unstoppable. The tactical officer pointed at the display. "Commander, the battle lasted only 4 minutes. In that time, the unknown warship destroyed every enemy ship in the system. Not one escaped." Vero nodded slowly, and it did this without losing a single moment to hesitation. The sensor chief added, "Its shield system absorbed every attack. Its speed was beyond anything human or alien, and its weapons destroyed the enemy with perfect accuracy." Vero looked up. "We have never seen anything like this before." The colony's scientists agreed. They studied the data with wonder and confusion. The technology of the black warship was unlike anything in the known human arsenal. Its weapons seemed to use new forms of energy. Its shields operated on principles not yet understood, and its speed broke all known limits, while Orion repaired and rebuilt. Rumors spread through human space. Stories of the black warship reached distant planets and space stations. Some called it the Phantom Guardian. Others said it was a secret weapon built by a hidden human faction. No one knew the truth. The enemy, the Z3, had vanished from the system. Their losses were heavy, and their pride was broken in their own space. The Z3 fleets gathered and whispered of the human shadow that had destroyed their strongest. Forces and minutes back on Orion. Commander Vero prepared for the next steps. He organized a small team to investigate the strange signal that had arrived after the battle. It was a series of coordinates far beyond human space, possibly a message. From the unknown warship, the team left quickly, piloting a fast scout ship toward the unknown location. The journey would take weeks, but hope drove them forward. They wanted to find the black warship and learn its secrets. Meanwhile, the people of Orion began to rebuild their lives. Farmers returned to their fields, children went back to school, shops reopened, the shadow of war slowly lifted. But the story of the black warship was told everywhere, in homes, in public squares, in schools. It became a symbol of hope and courage. It reminded people that even in the darkest times, help could come from the most unexpected places. Commander Vero kept his eyes on the stars. He knew the battle was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of dangers, and humanity had many enemies. But now, they had shown they were not weak. They had power. They had a guardian. The black warship's name was still unknown. Its crew was a mystery, but its actions spoke louder than words. It was a sign that humanity could survive, fight back, and win. Weeks passed after the battle at Orion. The colony was still busy with repair and recovery, but far beyond Orion, in many corners of human space, the story of the unknown warship had spread like wildfire. Whispers and rumors traveled faster than any ship. Some believed the black ship was a secret weapon created by humans to defend against alien threats. Others thought it was a lone protector, a ghostly guardian sent to watch over humanity in its darkest hours. Many feared it, and many hoped for its return. Commander Vero had returned from a reconnaissance mission following the strange coordinates. The small team had found only empty space, no ship or station, just silence. Yet the message remained a mystery. It hinted at something bigger, something hidden deep in the stars. The human fleets that had rushed to Orion's aid were now stronger and better prepared. They shared stories of the Black Warship, and some captains hoped to meet it one day. It was a symbol of strength, and it reminded them that humans could rise against any enemy. In the Z3 Empire, the loss was deeply felt. The defeat at Orion was a shame they could not forget. The elders whispered about the human shadow, the unstoppable force that crushed their fleet so quickly. Fear grew among their people. Some questioned if the Z3 could ever challenge humans again. Back on Orion, life was returning to normal. Children played in the streets. Farmers worked the fields. The sky was once again a peaceful blue. Yet, in the hearts of many, the memory of the Black Warship lived on. Vero spent long hours studying the battle data and the messages from across human space. He was determined to understand the warship's origin. Who built it? Who commanded it? Was it part of a secret project, or was it a lone hero traveling the galaxy? The Council agreed that humanity must be ready for any future attacks. They began to invest in new technologies, inspired by what the Black Warship had shown. Scientists worked day and night to unlock the secrets of faster engines, stronger shields, and powerful weapons. The story of the Black Warship became a legend, told in homes and schools. It was a tale of courage, mystery, and hope, a reminder that humans could be stronger than anyone expected. One evening, as Vero stood under the stars, he thought about the unknown ship. It had come without warning, saved the world, and disappeared without a word. That was its way, silent, swift, and unstoppable. And somewhere out there, the Black Warship sailed on, ready to protect humanity again if the need arose. Months passed. Since the battle at Orion, the colony had grown stronger and wiser. Commander Vero watched the changes with pride. People had rebuilt their homes, repaired their ships, and strengthened their defenses. The memory of the unknown Black Warship still lived in every heart. News from other human worlds arrived regularly. The story of the mysterious warship had spread throughout the galaxy. Many believed it was a sign of hope, a symbol that humans could face any threat and still stand tall. Vero often wondered about the crew of that ship. Who were they? Where did they come from? Had they returned to a secret base far beyond known space? Or did they travel alone? Forever watching, forever ready. One day, a signal reached Orion from a deep space outpost. It was a short message, encrypted and strange. Vero and his officers worked to decode it. When the message was clear, it revealed coordinates to a distant star system far beyond human borders. The Council decided to send an expedition. It was small but fast, filled with skilled pilots and scientists. Their mission was to find answers about the Black Warship and its origin. The people of Orion watched as the expedition left. Hope and curiosity filled the air. They wanted to know the truth, to learn who their mysterious guardian was. Meanwhile, back in human space, new dangers were rising. Alien forces that had once stayed quiet now moved openly. Skirmishes broke out on distant planets and trade routes. Humanity faced threats on many fronts, but the story of the Black Warship gave humans strength. It reminded them that even in the darkest times, help could come from unexpected places. It reminded them that humans were never truly alone. Commander Vero stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. He knew that the galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. But he also knew that humanity would face the future with courage. The Black Warship had shown them that it had arrived when hope was thin and fear was strong. It had fought without fear. It had saved a world. And though it had vanished again, its legacy would live forever. The stars above Orion shone brightly that night. They seemed to whisper stories of courage and mystery, of shadows that protect, and of warriors who fight for all humankind. Commander Vero smiled softly. Humanity was ready. The future was theirs.